This is my complete beginner's guide to making floral ultraviolet curing resin jewellery. This is a starter kit, a good starting point for anybody, and it should have everything we need. Let's see. We have got moulds. We have got information. We've even got some little jewellery cards to hook your earrings and things onto that you've made. The silicone pots and stirring things. We have loads of jewellery findings. It looks like there's some charms in there and everything. Lovely. Our resin and some little pots to stir it in. We've got a light. We've got some proper resin dyes. I'll talk you through how to use all this, of course. We have got also some pre-coloured resin. Awesome. So I think we have got everything we actually need to get started all in one box. And this is where you can find some expert tips as well on their Let Resin website. I've got a discount code for you for everything we use in this video, so I'll chuck it down in the video description as well. So first of all, let's have a look at our resin. You don't have to mix anything here. It's all one part because it's the ultraviolet light that makes it cure, not a part B or anything like that. So there's no mixing except for when you want to mix in colours and glitter and things like that, of course. The only thing I'm adding to this kit really is some gloves because although I don't tend to have an allergic reaction to ultraviolet curing resin, and it is non-toxic, it doesn't give off volatile organic compounds, commonly known as VOCs. That's the dangerous fumes. You can build up an allergy to pretty much anything. So well-ventilated room and gloves would be my top tip. So the first thing we need to do to get this ready to use is you'll find there's a little thingy in there, a little silver foil top. So we need to remove it or push it open like that, and we put our pointy top on. Remember to always store this in a dark place and keep the lid on. See, the pointy top's got a little lid as well, look. That's the nozzle. You need to keep the ultraviolet light off it, otherwise it'll just cure in your bottle, won't it? That's why they're in black bottles too. So that's your resin. That's a good sized bottle, 100 grams. That'll keep you going for a bit. Same approach with all our little coloured ones. We'll do those as and when we need them, but we've got the nozzles for those as well. Let's have a look at the pigments. I need to talk to you about colouring resin, ultraviolet curing resin particularly. Your ultraviolet light, the light that comes from your little UV lamp, needs to be able to pass through the resin. So if you put too much colouring in it, the light won't be able to get through. The answer to that is use as little colour as you can get away with to get the effect that you want, the intensity of colour. Always give it a good shake before using as well, because the colour can settle. And work in thin layers. If you're finding yourself needing to get a deep colour, then work in thin layers so that the light has a fighting chance of getting through. And I'll show you the trick with curing from the back as well shortly. So the same goes for any glitter or anything like that you put in it. Just always remember the light needs to get through. This is our little lamp. Let's have a look at it. It's a really nice little lamp. Just powers off a phone charger. I'm just going to plug it into my big beefy one over here. It's got presets. Now, never look into the light. It's just, you're going to wreck your eyes. It's dangerous. But it's got 3 settings. So we've got 60 seconds, 90 seconds, and is that 150 seconds? I think that's what it says. So depending on how many times you press it, and then again would be off. Ultraviolet curing resin, it tends to, a good one will cure in 3 or 4 minutes, completely hard. You can use daylight as well. You can use sunlight. Just takes a little bit longer, and I find this a lot easier to control. But you can use sunlight. I love these little lamps because the little legs fold down, easy to carry around. It's got a nice lot of lights in it. So dead powerful. So that's our resins, our pigments, and our light. By the way, the pre-mixed ones, they know how much pigment they can get away with in these. So they pre-mixed them for you, so it takes out that guesswork of will it cure. Little silicone mixing pot, and I'll show you as we go along how to clean your resin that you've mixed your colours in, because that's what that's for. I'll show you how to clean it out of the pot. And some little silicone stirring sticks. I've had some cheaper ones of these, and they're too floppy and you can't do anything with them. But these are a nice blend of floppy, because they're silicone, and stiff enough to use. They're just right, these are. There's a little spoony bit on one end, a flat bit on that one. You can see we've got a pointy bit there and like a dagger-shaped one on this end. And again, I'll show you how you clean those after use as we go. Let's have a look at the moulds. This is an important bit, isn't it? See, this is specifically a floral kit. I think floral jewellery is probably one of the most popular things you can make with resin. So let's show you the two moulds that we've got here. Just a nice size for pendants. There's some smaller ones for earrings to match look. as well. What a great idea. And some of them have got some fine detail in as well. And that is to make the hole for you so you haven't got to drill it. You can drill it if you find you've accidentally filled the hole up anyway, but that makes life a lot easier. The other things to know about moulds for ultraviolet curing resin, any mould that is transparent will be by far the easiest to use. Say transparent, see that's slightly translucent? Because what that's allowing is the light to pass through from this side, from here, all round. So it'll cure really, really well. So always look for a transparent or translucent mould when you're using ultraviolet curing resin. Otherwise, it's just very, very difficult with a solid coloured mould. You end up working in lots of tiny little layers, and sometimes it still doesn't work. So your best bet, go for translucent silicone. The other thing to note is that it's quite shallow and they're not too big. Ultraviolet curing resin really is intended for smaller stuff, at which it absolutely excels. It's perfect for jewellery. So there we go. That's what to look for in a mould, and I would say these are ideal. They're fantastic. Let's look at the findings. I will show you how to use each of these as we go through. Findings is the name for little jewellery bits, and it's really hard to open the bag with my gloves on. I should have put my gloves on afterwards, shouldn't I? Gloves are just nitrile gloves, by the way, very cheap. Single-use ones. Chuck them away after you use them. There we are. So, yeah, we've got some little dangly bits, some little charms. I love the sunflowers. Oh, aren't they nice? Some little pearls. You see they've already got the little hooks on to hook them onto your pieces of jewellery. We've got earring posts. I'll try to show you how to use all of these in this video. Earring fish hooks, I believe we call those. We've got jump rings in 2 different sizes. Now, these are all your little connecty rings. You can use them for bits of art in their own right. But these, for this purposes, really, we're intending them for to be findings. So they're for connecting all your bits together. We've got some little clasps to go on the end of any chains that you make. And then we have some quite substantial looking keyring pieces. I like that. So other than a chain, which I understand why they've not put that in, because you might want to go for black cord or gold or silver or, you know, whatever. But they've gone for gold in here, which I love because most kits have silver. And I'm a gold coloured girl. So that works for me. Okay, let's get stuck in. First thing we need to do then is decide which mould we're going to use. And I'm fancying going a bit Mary Quant with some daisies first of all. So lamp at the ready, little pot at the ready, and I'm going to decide what colours to use. First of all, shall we use the pre-mixed ultraviolet resins? And I want some pink daisies. So we don't need to mix the colours. There's no mixing at all here. I'm just going to do 2 pink daisies. How's that then? Now, as you can see, I hope, can you see there, there's little raised lines. The details are raised so you can work in between them with different colours. So what I'm going to do is, with bearing in mind the colours I have got to play with here, we're going to go pink. Oh, it's the pearl ones. Sorry, I didn't realise it's the pearl ones. Oh, how lovely. I love their pearl UV resins. They're quite thick as well. Look, see how thick that is. It's staying raised. I thought they were just the coloured ones. Oh, how fantastic. Again, you can put, this has got mica powder mixed in with it. You can put way too much quite easily and stop your resin from curing. But yes, of course, they know how much to put. So Let's Resin have pre-prepared these for you. And they do a huge colour range of these. Do. That's my favourite one. Sounds funny, doesn't it? Sorry. I need to get out more, don't I? So I'm taking the pointy end of the little stick and I'm just pushing it into those areas. Make sure we filled up each little area. Now, I'm not worrying too much if this line gets filled in because I'll show you what to do about that afterwards if you so wish. What it is doing is preventing us from going into that centre. Just poked any bubbles out. There we are. The only other thing I've added to this kit so far is a jolly nice cup of tea. So I'm making sure I'm up to the centre but not going into it. Could have done the centre first. That probably, on reflection, would have been easier, to be honest. There we are. And we're going to cure that. It doesn't need to fully cure because we're going to put some more in yet, so it'll get zapped on the next round as well. So I'm just going to give it a 1-minute blast. That should be enough to firm it up while I have a swig of my tea. People often ask about odours coming off the resin. There's a faint smell while it's curing, but it's not harmful fumes. At least not with this brand. Top tip for you, really, when you're looking for an ultraviolet curing resin to play with, stick with the well-known brands. I've got an actual tester for fumes. a VOC monitor. That's a volatile organic compound monitor. And some of the cheap brands, it goes nuts. It sets it off like mad, and you think, my goodness, that is wafting around in my house. And even if you've got one of those air purifiers running, it will take a little while to cure. So it's not good for you, your kids, your pets, anything else. So stick with a good quality one in a well-ventilated room. Then if you've got one of those air purifiers, that's a bonus. Right, now we're going to do the centre. Now, I really wanted yellow for the centre, and we haven't got any in the pearly one. So let us get some of our regular ultraviolet curing resin. By the way, I wouldn't normally put my pot on top of the mould. You don't want to scratch your mould, do you? But it's just so that you can see what I'm doing. And I'm probably using a bit more resin than I normally would as well. So there we go. Don't try and do this in a nice bright conservatory or out in the garden, because obviously that'll cure in your pot. Now I'm shaking up the liquid dye, and the way you open this is with a pin. So here's how to open your little bottles, like that, with a pin down the nozzle. If you're worried about it splashing everywhere, a couple of years ago the resin artist Daniel Cooper taught us a little trick, and that was put a cloth over it while you, a tissue or something, while you do your, you stick the pin in it. Right, let's get mixing. So I've put 4 drops, I hope that won't be too much. That's quite coloured. Oranges, reds and yellows are harder for the ultraviolet light to get through as well, remember, because it is opposite to the bluey violet colour of ultraviolet light. So what I shall do is show you what I mean about working in layers, just to be on the safe side. Just dropping that into the centre, just a little bit of it. I have mixed up quite a lot because I'm going to fill up some of the other things with it as well. So we're just taking it right round to the edges of that little round piece. We're going to cure it. Again, I'm only going to put it under for 1 minute. Keep your pot that you've mixed up well away from your light, because of course it will cure in the pot. So I'm just going to pop my hand there. The other reason for wearing gloves, by the way, whilst a little bit of ultraviolet light on this sort of scale on your hands occasionally isn't going to do them any harm, if you're doing a lot, it might build up over time. Like any ultraviolet light, the sun isn't good for you in large quantities either, is it? When you think about the times we have our nails done, ladies, some of us do, and they use these ultraviolet lights, they are quite safe in moderate usage like that. So that's cured for a minute, and that will have, firmed up lovely. And then we're going to put another coat in. So that's what I mean about layering. And if you mix mica powders and glitter and things like that in as well, you're definitely going to want to do some layering. So let's get that cured. And now, because this is probably the final cure, we'll see, but because it's probably the final cure, I'm going to put it on for the longer zap. Let's use the word zap. You know what I mean. Okay, so that's had at least 3 minutes. We're going to flip it over. Can you see? You get a sneak preview as well. Isn't that nice? Flip it over, because that's cured from that side now. Just to make sure, we're going to cure it from the back. And I'm going to give that a good, I don't know, a couple of minutes. Might as well go for the whole hog. Give it the full 3 or 4 minutes. What this is doing is making sure it really has cured all the way through. So another good reason for having a translucent mould. Right. So that has been zapped on both sides. Let's get it out and have a look. Oh, look. Now, the centre is transparent because that was a dye. Let me put something white behind it. Here we go. Yeah, can you see that? That's because it was a dye rather than the mica powder mixed. Isn't that lovely? Now, if I wanted that to be, let's say I wanted it to be white on the back so that yellow looks yellow. Well, look, lo and behold, Let's Resin have given us a white pearlescent as well. So we could back the whole thing with white if you want. Should we do that? This is the beauty of ultraviolet curing resin, I think. Let's zoom you in. There we are. Is that you can learn and play with it because it's so simple. Of course, you could mix up a little bit of the white pearl. You could put a dot of yellow in it if you wanted as well. Just play to your heart's content, as long as you're always remembering those principles. that the light has got to be able to pass through it. Now I've probably blocked up the little hole because I've gone a bit mad there, but that's okay. I'll show you how to drill it back out if you mess up like I just did. All part of the learning. Right, let's cure that. And again, I'm going to give it a good long cure. On the third setting, yeah, it's 150 seconds because this is going to be a final cure. So we're going to make really sure. There we go. Right, there we go. Back's nicely cured. Front's looking good. Now, if I wanted to put those lines back in, you can see them because they're indented, because that is the design of the mould. However, if I wanted to put them back in, all you can do is get in a little bit of acrylic paint in whatever colour you choose, put it all over and then wipe it off, and a little bit will stay in each of those indents. I may show you how to do that a bit later if we get one that's got more detail that I do want to do it with, but I think that one's just perfect as it is. Now, just to quickly show you, because I did go and fill in that hole by accident, it will still be here somewhere. Yeah, there it is. So it's telling me where to put it. So all I do is get a little drill. This was very cheap off Amazon. And drill from the front, like I just did, because you tend to find that the messy bit, you know, where the drilling sort of frays the resin slightly, will then be at the back. But there we go. Little hole, done. That was easy, wasn't it? Now, something else I've noticed with this mould, this is clever. The daisies come in two designs. The one we just did was this one, and I don't know if you can see this, but that little hole where the centre is sunken. This one is raised, so I'm going to do that one differently, because this one I was able to just fill up the centre because it's sunken. This one, I'm going to be able to do that, am I? So let's get our white resin on the go this time, because I wanted to do white pearly daisy. And what I'm going to do is fill the whole back with the white pearly. That's quite a lot of resin. So what I'm going to do is spread it around. I'm going to use this one because that's quite good for getting into the little corners like so. Make sure you go behind the stopper, you know, the bit where the hole's going to be. So I'm going to spread that around. See, I could just fill the sunken areas, which is the petals, and then cure it at that, and then do the centre. But I want to try something a little bit different, just to be different for your viewing, really. So have a good look at your mould. It's probably worth doing a couple of test pieces to just to suss them out beforehand, and have a close look at what comes out, because then you can work out how you want to use it. But with most moulds, particularly these, there's quite a few different ways to do it. Right, we're going to cure that, and I'm going to cure the stick as well, because then I can show you how to clean it. There, look, just pops off. Okay, we're going to flip it over and do it from the other side. Now, bubbles are a big topic of discussion very often with ultraviolet curing resin, and I'll just fill you in with what I do about them while this is curing. First of all, the main thing is just have a little poke around gently with this one of these sticks, or a micro brush, anything that's got a soft tip on it, basically. You can use toothpicks, but just be careful, because silicone is easy to scratch and you don't want to damage your mould, because that scratch will then replicate in every piece you ever produce thereafter. So my top tip would be to get some of these or some little micro brushes, so that you're not going to scratch the mould with that, because it's more silicone. There we are. We have a daisy. Now, what I wanted to try and do, because that on this one, rather than sticking up, the centre is sunken. So I'm just going to drop some of the clear, okay, this is my favourite so far, into the centre, and then cure it. And because that's a little sunken area, that should stay in place. Here we go. That worked really well, didn't it? And the yellow has actually run down these little lines a little bit. Let's see if we can encourage it to do that more, actually. I like that. Never done that before. See, this is what I mean. It's all about having a play. And with little pieces like this that don't use so much resin, then you really have got scope to have a play, haven't you? And learn as you go. Okay, that's all cured. Isn't that nice? Now, if you've got any sharp bits on the back, there's an easy answer to that. You can either fill it up with some more resin, or if you want to leave it as thin as it is, just go around it with a nail file, and that will take off any sharp bits. So this is just a big regular nail file. The other thing is, if you fill the mould up completely, so if I put another layer in there, then you sometimes don't get those edges if you fill it right up to the very brim, because the sharp edges are created by the surface tension doing something silly, basically. So this one hasn't got any sharp edges. Yeah, it's a little bit trial and error. Now I've taken my gloves off because we're going to have our first attempt at making it into a thing. So I have here some rather old jewellery pliers. I've got some nice new sets somewhere, but I thought I'd crash out my old ones for today. They are very cheap ones. To be fair, jewellery making tools, you can get very affordable sets that are very effective. These were, I've had them for years. Now, let's have a look at our jump rings. And this is why I have taken my gloves off. We are going to pour our little jump rings out, and I'm going to put them into a little bowl so they don't go everywhere. And as you can see, they're just rings. Now, they have been opened. They've come opened for some reason, which is handy. But can you see how they've been opened? They have been twisted. Can you see? They've gone that way rather than that way. See, rather than that way. See what I mean? And that is the way to use jump rings. So I'm going to grab one with my pliers like this. I'm going to decide where we want which daisy. And I think I want the white one at the end of the chain. And we're just going to hook it on like that and twist it back into shape. That way it doesn't distort it. Can you see? It's still nice and round. So there's our first piece on. We're going to do the same with the other one, part way up the chain, and we're going to have a look at what all those little charms are as well. I pop that through there, like so. So that's part way up the chain, look. As you can see, I love those. Look at those, they're like sunflowers. But instead, let's go for a biggish daisy, a biggish leaf. Do you have a little pearl as well, or is that going to be too much? Let's see. If silver is your preference, by the way, you can get silver findings, you can get rose gold, you can get antique coppery colours as well. You can get all sorts, and they are, again, very affordable. They're not, unless you want to go for sterling silver or something, you don't need to spend a huge amount of money on jewellery findings. It's a really nice selection, I have to say. The other pack of jump rings are the same, they're just bigger. So if you're doing anything a bit chunkier, then you've got those as well. So let's put that one, put it just there. There we are. You can go as crazy as you want. You can get tassels and all sorts of things to go on them. And of course you can make your own charms by just doing the smaller ones of these. There's lots of choices in those moulds, aren't there? Their first make. How easy was that? So far we've looked at the safety aspect. We've looked at the different types of UV resin. We've used some clear and mixed in some pigments with it. We've used some pearlescent. We've drilled out the holes. We've talked about the mould and what sort of moulds work. So I'm just thinking, shall we crack on and just dive straight in to making some earrings? The one thing that isn't in this kit that I bet you lot will want to add is some more colorant type. Now, there's something I bet you lot will want to add to this kit, and that is glitter and possibly mica powder. So let's cover both of those next. Right, let's do the mica powder first. So I'm just going to try and bring this into shot for you. Now, what we're going to need is just some of the clear resin, quite a bit actually, because I want to do a few of these. I want to see if I can do a flower with this. It looks like a thistle flower almost, that does, doesn't it, with a spike in it? Or a poppy. Could be a poppy. So all we're going to do is we're going to take our mica powder. This is one from the Let's Resin range, and it's just called green. Now, mica powders do slightly change colour when you put them into your resin. Usually the colour goes deeper, we'll see. And it's the mica powders that give you these fantastic pearly effects like we saw in those pre-mixed ones. As I say, there's a big colour range in these, the pre-mixed ones. So do have a look at that, because that makes life even easier. Now, I'm hoping that isn't so much mica powder that the light won't go through it. There we go. I like that green a lot, and I'm hoping that that isn't so much mica that the light won't go through it. And we've got a little spout to make it easy. Well, no detail or anything in these to worry about. All you're worrying about is getting the resin. These are going to be some very glamorous earrings, I think. You're just worrying about getting your resin into all your nooks and crannies. If you splat any bits over the side, don't worry, you can snap those off afterwards. This does self-level, and don't forget, you're in no rush. If you haven't got any ultraviolet light coming in through a bright window or anything, you can leave this to sit. In fact, put a little cover over it or something. I've got a little black box thing that I pop over sometimes. Let's do some little leaves. Oh, yeah. But yeah, you can wander off and have a cup of tea or something and come back. Your resin will still be fine. And it will still be levelling as well if you've got it in your mould. So you can quite easily just do that. While I'm at this point, by the way, thank you so much to Resin for sponsoring this video, providing me with all this amazing stuff. Loving it. And also big thank you to my channel members and all of you who watch and subscribe and do all those free things as well, because it all adds up and does make the world of difference to my channel and helps me to carry on producing these sort of videos for you. Let me know in the comments, by the way, is there anything else you'd like me to do like a beginner's guide to? I do like doing beginner's guides, in fact so much that if you really would like to, there's a link for my community on the school platform down in the video description. That is now open for memberships. Membership's free, and there's some freebies in there as well, free resources and things like that, and even some free, there will be soon, some free courses and some paid ones for the more meaty ones, but I'm trying to keep it all sensible and affordable. I'm just looking at lots of different ways to give you the things that you're asking me for, and in the best possible way. Right, should we cure all that lot then? Okay, usual thing, flipping it over, zapping it from the back as well. Incidentally, if you do really get into making ultraviolet curing resin jewellery, let Resin do an incredible range of lamps. I've got a big Z fold-out one, which is amazing. I've got a huge round one. I've got a double-sided one so that it does the back and the front at the same time. I've got all sorts. It is a hell of a range. This is perfect for, you know what, sat of an evening while you're watching telly, making a few pieces on a dinner tray on your lap. I do it all the time using one of these little tiddlers, and it's really quite a powerful little thing for something so small. Really is neat. I've even been known to take a kit like this on holiday with me. Just for, you know, if we've got a quiet hour at some point, just sit down in a shady spot in the bar or whatever, and just make a few pieces. Isn't that lovely? So there's your mica powder mixed in. Now, resin does get hot while it's curing. You're not going to burn yourself. It'll just be enough to make you go, ow. Which is why you don't really want to get it on your hands and cure it. Hence, gloves is a good idea. And also, you know, it's worth leaving it a minute or two before you demold it, because once it's cooled down, any softness or tackiness that's in the resin will have gone. If you've got sticky resin, there are things you can do about it, but honestly, if you use a good brand of resin, that won't happen. I love the colour of this, by the way. Yeah, so I've had that set for ages and I've never used that one. I had to open the pot. Is it me, or do those look like lotus flowers? I think they might be lotus flowers. Shall I show you how to blend? Let's do blending. So first of all, we're going to want some clear in these, like so. Almost full, just making sure it goes up round the little stopper. Trying to get about the same amount in each. And then what we're going to do is mix up a little bit, just getting that little pot out again. And we have got, what should we go for? Oh, look at the violet. Oh, yes, let's go for the violet. You could do the same with the pearl ones, by the way. Oh, I haven't opened this one, have I? I've lost my pin. So I'm giving it a good shake. Now, you could use this approach to do with glitter or with the pearlescent ones. I just fancy doing it with the transparent that you're mixing. Black's the worst because the light doesn't get through it. Oh, does it? So you have to go steady with the black. Let Resin do a pre-mixed black, by the way, if you want to cheat with that as well. So I'm just putting 3 drops of the colour at the base, and then I'm going to pull it in like so, and then pull it out. So at this point, you could either blend it out by lots of, you know, fussing at it, or you could just do this. And because it's ultraviolet curing resin, as soon as you get it exactly how you want it, cure it. And then we're going to cure it again. There we go. And that should cure quite easily. Now, what I'm going to do is just top it up with some more resin. I might put a tiny dot more of the purple at the bottom. I don't know. But I'm just bringing it up to the level now. In fact, yes, let's just put a tiny dot more purple at the bottom. Just make that a little bit stronger. Just around that centre. And cure again. And then, of course, I will cure it from the back as well. But this time, really good cure because this is its final cure. And, of course, we're flipping it over and curing it from the back again. Next, Because you're probably all going, what about chameleon powder, Tracy? What about glitter, Tracy? So let's tackle those next. First of all, let's do the glitter. I've got this. Look at this. Isn't this pretty? This was from Jam Pot Glitter. You can use any glitter though, but we'll tackle that first. Now, let's get these out. Lovely. And as you can see, it's got those lines in it. See the detail? Now you can fill those in if you want, but I rather like it as it is. And again, you could back it with the pearlescent if you want to make that colour blend stand out even more. Where's my bit of little bag that the light came in? It's up to you, but I rather like it as it is. Now, there is a hole at the top and a hole at the bottom, so you could link them in sequence if you want. So we might do that in a minute. I don't want to take my gloves off and waste this pair of gloves. So let's make a few more first, then we'll come back to making earrings and some more keychains just to show you. And I'll show you how to use these as well. So, how do you fancy a glittery daisy? Now, shall we do the yellow centre again? I've still got plenty of that yellow left, so let's do the yellow centre. And then we'll have pink glitter around the side, shall we? In fact, the pink glitter will probably go all over the back. Oops. Let's do two, because we could have two of these on one chain, couldn't we? There we are. So that's that centre segment filled in. And I'm going to cure that while we mix up. Just give it a quick 60 seconds blast. While we mix up the glitter. I'm going to use another one of these little disposable pots. Big dollop of the resin, because I'm going to make quite a lot. And we're going to mix our glitter in. Look at that. You can use chunky glitter, fine glitter, whatever takes your fancy. Just remember, your light's still going to pass through it. So if you put a lot of glitter, you're going to want to do it in layers again. So here we go. I'm literally just going to spoon that into the mould. It is going to go over the back of the yellow, but we should still end up with like a patch that's tinted a different colour. Ooh, is that too much? I'm going right up to the top. I was going to do it in layers, but let's see if I've gone too mad with the glitter and if we can get away with this, shall we? Do you do one of those as well while we're at it? Yeah. Just because I've dripped by it, so we might as well. While I'm making this video, I just want to remind you that I have got a full playlist of jewellery making, and there is also a new playlist that's going to be a collaboration to really help you with jewellery, comprising a whole load of resin artists. It's in its infancy as I film this video at the end of May 2026. But if you're making jewellery and you want to take a look at that playlist and submit some of your own stuff to the creator of the playlist, that's Sherry Hart, then she will be very glad to hear from you. She's arranged it so that people can submit pictures of their pieces. You don't have to have done a video and a YouTube channel about it. If you've made a little video, great, but just photos is fine. She'll do a compilation, insert them into some of her own videos, or if there's enough, make a proper compilation video of just everybody else's resin pieces. So I'll put you the link to that as well. It's going to be okay. We're just doing the backs as well, and look, you can definitely see that other colour through. So there's your glitter. Hey, look at that. And UV resin really makes your glitter pop. Look at that. That's definitely going to be a keyring, isn't it? We're going to need a load more leaves. Oh, yes. Chameleon powder. I've got this one. It's one of the Let's Resin chameleon powders, and this one is called Violet. So, two ways to use it. Let's use the way that I know a lot of people are very, very keen on, and that is to brush it into the mould first. So let's do, what should we do? I'm really liking the daisies. I hope you don't mind. I'm sticking with daisies. Let's do this one, because that's got the recessed, that'll be the recessed centre. Don't forget, if you end up putting things in your moulds, such as flowers or anything, you're working upside down generally. So the bottom, what is currently the bottom, will be the front. So just remember to flip things up the other way. You don't have to, but that's how the moulds are designed. And I think that's by far the easiest. Now I'm just making sure I get all up the sides, covering it over. You can use a little makeup applicator, you know, the little sponge ones? I quite like using little brushes. I don't know why, I just find that easier. But all we've done is we've covered it over. Now, chameleon powders are quite subtle. If you just put clear on the back of them, you'll get like a mermaidy effect, which is probably coming through them. We can see it through the mould there. However, if you put a colour on the back, and typically black is the popular one, then those colours will really pop. Now, black colourants you're going to have to be very careful with, because just think how hard it is going to be for the light to get through. But we're going to have a go. They do a pre-mixed black UV resin if you're worried about it. It's very good. Don't forget, I've shaken my pigment, and I'm just going to put 2 drops and hope that's okay. This is probably going to be a layers job again. Okay, so that's fairly black, but can you see it's translucent? The light will still go through it. So I'm going to go for 1 more drop, and I think that's really pushing my luck. Hope you can see this. Is it still on shot? It looks like it is. Might even get away with 1 more drop, but let's not push it too much. So what we're going to do is layer it. So there's 1 lot. Going to get my little pointy thing and encourage that into all the corners. Now I'm trying not to touch the silicone because I'm going to disturb the chameleon powder. There'll be a little bit drift up onto the surface anyway, because it just will. There will be that little bit of surplus. Now chameleon powders, I don't quite know how they make them, but the little tiny little specks of pigment change colour depending which way you look at them. So you should get one of these colour flip effects. It's more noticeable on shapes that have got more 3D to them, you know, curves and things, because it really catches the light. But let's get this cleared off. I'm just going to give it a minute, then put another coat in. So 2nd coat going in here. Yes, I've splatted. Let it self-level a little bit. Might be okay for a 3rd, so I'll fill it right up. Let's see. So over to the side here, I've done a load more leafy bits, and I've also put a 3rd layer in our little flower. Now I can't really cure it from the other side because it's not going to get through that powder. But look at the shine on that. Now, if you tip it in some direction, I don't know if you're getting this, but it goes green if you tip it that way. It goes pinky lilac if you tip it this way, and so on. Isn't that nice? Now I do want to put a coloured centre. This one, I think, for the coloured centre, I'm going to bring back in my yellow, but have I got enough pots left? You get, they send you a lot of these little pots. And that is tint your white pearlescent resin with some of the pigment. Now I've got, actually, this is still going to go to waste, so because I've already got this mixed up. But I reckon you could put a dot of the actual pigment in. But I want a pale lemon, and I think, look at that, isn't that lovely? I'm sure there's a pale lemon in the big full range of these colours that they do. But just for the sake of using just what we've got here, be aware that you can tint it. Look at that, isn't that nice? Okay, mission accomplished there then. Let's bring my lamp over there for a minute. But yeah, I'm doing a whole load more leaves over here. Right, I'll be back with you shortly, because there's another way of using that chameleon powder that I want to show you. You can mix it in with your resin. That works, but I think there's another way that will make it pop even more that I would like to show you. So that'll be next. And then I think it's gloves off time. We'll get to assembling things. I'm going to put some resin in some of these small ones as well. I'm just going to have a bit of a mad fit off camera, but we're doing more of the same of what we've done already, so there's no point in filming all that. But I want a load of these little ones for earringy pieces and things. Just cutting back in here with another tip for you. If you do get bubbles that you can't get out with your little pointy thing, then a long neck lighter like this is quite a handy way to do it. Just don't linger over it too long, because 1, it's flammable. 2, you can overheat it. So just a quick skim across the surface like that should do it. It'll lift the bubbles off. And 3, you can actually damage your mould. You can scorch it. And if your resin overheats and burns onto the mould, you're not going to get it off. It's what they call a flash cure, or silicone getting scorched. So just a little tip there for you. Get out what you can with your pointy thing. If you've still got some that are being really stubborn, skimming across the surface very quickly with that long neck lighter will help you a lot. So while these, I need to give these another cure from the other side, but while we're doing so, I just want to show you the other way I like to use ultraviolet curing resin with those chameleon powders. And this way, I find it makes the colours pop even more. And that is put some clear in first, or top coat over it afterwards. That's a whole thing that you can do as well. And for this, I like to fill it about halfway up. Okay, now we're going to cure it. While that's curing, I'm going to mix up a bit more black, because although I did have some left, I spilt it. Yes, it had to be the black, didn't it? But we're only going to need a little bit, because it is just for 1 thin layer on the back. So I've just mixed up that tiny little bit there. Right, that's had about a minute, so it should be tacky. And what we're going to do is get a little brush and brush it onto the back. Now, if you do this with glitter or with, well, pretty much anything, to be honest, even flowers and things, if you cure a layer up first, and then go in with your stuff. Just remember to leave room for your stuff. Then you get like that glossy finish on the top, which is great. So I've brushed that onto the back of that clear layer. We're now going to top it up with black. Then I think our next job, because I promised you I'd do this one, getting a little bit more advanced here, but it's a fun one. And I think it's one of the first ones that people say, I want to do that there, even if it is a bit more advanced. So it's proving that what some techniques that people think might be a bit advanced actually are pretty straightforward, hopefully. I mean, let me know if you've got any more comments. Just drop them in the comments below this video. I do check all the comments. If you've got any questions, I shall be looking out for them to answer those as quickly as I can. Right, I'm going to cure that up. You'll see what I mean. There is a difference. Right, I've got a lot of curing to do here. Let's get that done and I'll be back with you shortly. We'll do some assembling. Okay, let's get these all demolded. First of all, let's have a look at the one that I put the clear before the chameleon, and look at the difference. See, you get a satin finish if you brush it onto the mould. You get a much more shiny and flippy finish if you put a layer of clear in first, or dome over the top, which I'll show you in a second. Let's get a lot more leafy things out. As you can see, this one I had to go a bit of blending there. That's nice, and that's with the pearl and the white, blending it through. There's a lot of pink flowers, purple. So now we've seen all the colours in that pearl range as well, the ones that are supplied with this kit anyway. And these I did a lot more blending across the across this mould. This one I put the colours in, I put the pink in, and then I put the green in and tried to spread it across. Well, of course, this side is actually really nice. That side's just pink, but that's the one with the texture in. So with the next one, I put the colours in all at the same time and then got my little stick and blended across a bit. So that's quite funky, isn't it? Now this one I'm going to show you what happens if you top coat. So this is just a plain glittery flower. There's no texture in it, nothing. And I take my gloves off now. I'm going to try not to get it on my hands. I'm not allergic to this stuff anyway. It's just that, it doesn't do much for your manicure. And it doesn't make you jump if you cure the resin on your finger. So easiest way to top coat, especially when you've got an awkward shape like this, is to get your pointy stick, which is currently curing at the moment, so I've got this one instead. Pour some resin in the centre, your normal clear resin, and then pull it out to the edges. Sometimes I'll go around the edges first. You find which technique suits you most. And this will dome it off. It's quite a viscous resin, so its surface tension's pretty darn good. It will hold itself in place as long as you don't put too much on, but you can dome it up quite a bit. And it will make your glittery effect pop even more on whatever colours you've used. If you get bits where you don't want it, just lift them out using my built-in tweezers, my nails. I've just discovered this nail polish glows under ultraviolet light, by the way. A little bit of an aside there. So what you should see is that we've got a very slightly domed surface there, and it's made the glitter pop even more. So there we are, there's that one. The other thing is, I said the back's nicer than the front on this one. What we can do is turn the back into the quality for a front. Now, I get a bit blasé with my top coating because I've practiced so much. I can now just use the nozzle of the bottle to do that top coat because it's pointy. I'm not squeezing it out anymore, just using it as a pointy thing. Right, we'll cure that. Right, let's get assembling. So, see, we've now got that as the front instead. Right, what are we going to do with this lot? I think, first of all, we should use up some of the bigger ones on a keychain again. So we've got, I think that and that should look nice together. Maybe that and that. Don't know. Let's do another keychain. Anyway, I'm going to speed this up because you know exactly what I'm doing. And then we'll move on and make some earrings. And I'll show you also how to make a detachable charm for your keychain. Just going to quickly show you how to make a charm that's detachable, so you could hook it onto whatever you fancy. And these are little lobster clasps. You can use them as jewellery extenders as well. Look, because there's a clip on both ends. So if you want like a necklace extender, you could use it for that. But what we're actually going to do is have one end as a clip it onto a ring on your handbag, because they just open like this. It's hard to do this with nails. Yeah, like that. See? There's one each end, so you clip it on your handbag, and then we can have an assortment of little dangles. So you clip it onto your handbag and leave it. I mean, these would make fantastic handbag dangles as well, won't they? With the keychain loop, if you wanted them to. But here we go. We're going to make a flower drop to use some of these. Going to want to save some of these for doing earrings, of course. We're going to come on to that in a moment. Maybe these are a bit big for earrings, aren't they? So maybe that one. There we go. Let's put that lot on. It's the same process, basically. You just hook them all on. Now, if you've bought these lobster clasps separately, just get yourself a bit of chain, or make a chain by linking together a whole load of jump rings, and you will end up with one of these. The other thing with this, of course, is you could, because it's got a clip on each end, you could like string it across, like so, across if you've got a couple of, a handbag with a couple of clips on, maybe. I don't know, I'm just trying to think. Do all sorts with it. But if you're a bit like me and you change key rings a lot, because you've got separate key rings for separate things, then this would be great, because you can just clip it on and off without having to keep taking your keys off. You can clip it onto your perfectly ordinary key ring, and away you go. So I'm just going to keep adding stuff. There's nothing new here, so I'll keep adding, and I'll see you when I'm done. How nice. So you can clip that wherever you like. You've got another clip here if you wanted to clip on, something else, or hook it onto one of these. It's just a versatile removable thing. Simple as that. Okay, now earrings. Surprisingly simple. Let's just do one pair. So we're going to need one pair of hooks, obviously, unless you're unfortunate enough to only have one ear. And we're going to use the smaller jump rings this time, and hope they will go through our resin pieces. It depends how thick I've made them. So all we're going to do is decide what order we want these in. Now, I think I'm going to want to make a little piece of chain by joining a load together. So, 1. Now, I'm going to take another loop and hook the leaf straight onto the earring wire, making sure that the side I want to be the front, is facing forwards. To say that when I used to do an awful lot of jewellery making, I didn't have my nails like this. So that's already dropped down one. Look, one loop, 2 loops, depending on where you count from. And we're going to put another one onto there, and we're going to hook it onto the leaf. Is that low enough? Yes, that's adorable. If you wanted it to dangle longer, just hook up some more jump rings. There. How cute is that? We'll try their little jewellery cards in a minute as well, because they've come with it. So let's see if they're any good, shall we? So here we go again. Don't forget this technique for opening your jump rings. It's important. You will distort them and they will go all silly, and you won't get them back into shape if you pull them apart like that, rather than twisting, as I've just done there. Important little technique that you will find useful again and again and again. There we go. Now, of course, I might want to turn one of these sparkly flowers into a pendant. Okay, so we've just linked those on. Nice big jump ring, and that now can be a pendant or hook it onto wherever you like. Now, this kit came with these, and I assume that they're earring posts. There's no backs with them, but you can get backs of packs easy enough, can't you? Massive backs of plastic ones for next to nothing, all the proper little metal ones. Now, let me just show you what I'm going to do with these. First of all, they've got nothing in the middle, and I want something in the middle. So let's get out. I'm going white, because I think that'll be a really nice contrast to the blue. So I'm just putting a dot of white in the centres. It is recessed. These haven't got holes in them, so they're obviously intended for being studs or something. You could make holes in them, of course. So just letting that settle so it's filled up the little holes and cure those off. What we're going to do is flip them onto their back. I'm going to zoom you in scary close again because this is a really neat trick. A lot of people use jewellery glue. I don't, because I can never find mine apart from anything else. But what I prefer to do, and it creates a hell of a strong bond, is a tiny dot of glue on the back. This also works for sticking fridge magnets on, by the way. Okay, that's as small a dot as I could do. And we're going to pick up our little earring post and pop that on. I'm going to put the other one to one side, actually, because I think I'm going to cure one at a time. But we get that exactly where we want it. UV resin is an incredibly strong glue. I know some people say you can't use it, it's not a glue. Well, it sure as heck is. Right, so I'm going to hold it exactly where I want it, up nice and straight. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of the resin that's all around it and scoop it over the top so that the little metal thing is actually pretty much trapped in resin. And then I can tidy up the back by spreading the resin a little. Yes, I should have gloves on. You're quite right. I'm going to get in a sticky mess, aren't I? There. So that should now be fully trapped just where I want it, just in the right place. If it keeps falling over, I've got some really, really long nose pliers. Look at those, really long, so I can hold it under the UV light if I need to. Getting shaky hands. Sorry, that's a stress and anxiety thing. Don't usually have shaky hands. Right, then we're going to cure it. So while that's curing, I'll do the same with the other one. And there, cured. And that is going nowhere. And there is your stud earring. And if your post isn't quite straight, at this point, the bond is so strong, you can straighten it, because sometimes these get bent in the packaging. There we go. That's how strong the bond is. Right, I was going to show you how to clean the pot as well, wasn't I? Dead easy. You probably saw this coming. And I'm going to put some of these away now and keep them safe. You'll see why I use my little heart pots for pouring out my jewellery bits, because they've got a spout. So just put that under the lamp for a bit. Out it comes. And then, of course, you can get these bits out, either pick them off or with a bit of sticky tape. Easy peasy. I'm going to put a sunflower on this one because I didn't use a sunflower. Not good enough. Not acceptable, Tracy. Or is it a daisy? It could be either, couldn't it? See, this is the thing. You can keep looking back at your design and thinking, just realised I didn't put a sunflower on any of these. So let's put a sunflower on whichever one doesn't look too busy yet. That one's quite tame, isn't it? Let's put it on that one. This is the thing. You can keep adding things, can't you? And there's a multitude of little charms and things available. And as you've seen here, make your own. So this is why I use these little heart pots to keep my bits in. Easy to pull them back into the bag. I'm tidying up as I go along. Right, so let's see what the earring cards are like that come with these. It's earring or pendant or keychain by the look of it, really, because you've got the little holes which you just pop out. Looks like it's all been proper die cut. So let's pop our earrings on there. You can put them in little packets as well, of course. I often do that. Having said that, I only do a craft stall once a year. If anybody ever wants any of my makes, by the way, I'm quite happy to sell them for a donation to the charities that support and covering the cost of the postage. So if you ever fancy any of my little bits and pieces, just shout. So that works well. Now, obviously, if you've got a necklace or something, you could put it round there. Don't quite know how you'd put keychains on. I don't. Maybe with a loop through there. You could, couldn't you? Put another jump ring through there or something. Don't know, but I think those are just the job. Let's do another one. Where's my other pair that I made? Did I just do the one? Oh, there's the stud ones, isn't there, of course? So I need to get some backs, but just pop them through there. And where's it gone? The one that was just like a little chain there. I bet I can hook the lobster clasp through there. The other lobster clasp at the other end. Yeah, it's just long enough to. It's a bit of a fiddle. But that's going to oops, once it's in, that's going to hold that quite securely, I think. Those of you who've got a Cricut machine, by the way, I have got a downloadable jewellery card template. You're welcome to pinch. I'll put the link for that down in the video description as well. Yeah, they're nice. I've got a few bits left over as well. So what I'm going to do is pop those into, will they fit in there? Yeah, a little bag. And those could be a little gift for anybody who orders from my shop soon. Love to see what people do with these little somethings I pop in for them. I see them sometimes pop up on the desks of other people in videos. We've covered quite a lot of ground there. We've looked at what our ultraviolet curing resin is. We've looked at the pearlescent versions. We've looked at how you mix colours in. Obviously had a good look at a cracking starter kit there. I love a good starter kit. I really do. I make no secret of that. We've looked at how to open and close jump rings. We've coloured with mica powders and pigments and chameleon powders and glitter. We've assembled earrings and lots of keychains. What else have we done? Quite a lot. I think we've covered quite a lot of ground there. Really hope this is useful, but like I keep saying, do pop your questions down in the comments because I'm very happy to take questions. Thanks again to Let's Resin for sponsoring this video. Don't forget, I've got discount codes for the Let's Resin stuff down below in my video description as well for several countries. So knock yourselves out. I do a lot of these beginner guides on some more advanced stuff. So if you consider subscribing, you know where all the links are. They're all down here. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.